Yeah, that's what I think. We were just saying that. So, me and we're sick of this, we're sick of this parking garage. Tell me when we're on. Don't worry, I'll turn it on when I. It's been happening. So, Roger, okay. Family, okay? Kids? Good. Yeah, I just had a- this one's the end of the year. She didn't put in the key. That's very much. Yeah. She is very stressed. To,
Yeah.
I'm sending two pictures. She's up to 6.9%.
I'm ready to start.
Bring your mics on, me, Jim.
Good.
Ready? Okay, we'll come to order. Thank you all for joining us today. Today is the Brewery Historic District Commission. It's June 2nd at 4 o'clock. We are at 111 North Front Street, the second floor hearing room. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, July 7th. That is the next commission meeting. There'll be a business meeting on Thursday, June 23rd at noon. The next commission meeting is at 4 o'clock, also all in this space. So just so you know. I'd like to swear in the staff, please. Ms. Torbeck, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Connie Torbeck, Assistant Historic Preservation Officer.
Thank you for your introduction. Can I have the commissioners introduce themselves, please?
Devyani Puranik here.
Matt Leisure here.
Daniel Mather.
And Cynthia Hunt here. Thank you all for joining us today. We don't have any outside speakers, or do we, Connie?
No, but we need a motion to approve the minutes. And
Okay.
then the staff approval.
Okay. Why don't we choose, has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from last time? Any changes or discussion? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Minutes passed.
And then we have two staff approvals on page 3.
Great. You want to describe this just kind of, or should we just go ahead and straight approve them?
They're just painting over graffiti on a motel and a new asphalt we would find another property.
Have people had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Okay, any questions or concerns? Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. The staff approvals can move forward. All right. Connie, shall we take the first item on the agenda?
Yes, and I think
We do have our applicant. We're all getting pretty nervous, Mr. Applicant. This is BD 22-06-003, 477 South Front Street. The temporary address faces Second Street. Mr. Rosenthal from Schooley Caldwell, my understanding.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. If you are ready to be sworn in, sir, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Connie, would you like to present the staff report on this agenda item?
This is a new parking garage. Was conceptually reviewed at the January 6th and April 7th PDC hearings, revised drawings, product information, and a light plan have been submitted to address commissioner comments. The garage with 354 spaces, we have information such as precast concrete vans, the colors of those, thin brick. We have colors of those, precast stair, and that would be enclosed with a glass curtain wall. And we have window information, the black. And then also, as I noted, the lighting plan. So recommend approval of the application as submitted with any required drawings or product information to be submitted to HPO staff for final review.
Is there anything that has not been submitted that should be?
I don't think so.
Okay. Mr. Rosenthal, would you like to tell us what has changed since we saw you last?
Nothing really. The updated information now shows the light fixtures and the photometric plans. We were able to procure a sample of the proposed concrete.
Great.
Happy to share that.
Why don't you bring that up? And can we see the lighting plan, please?
Take a peek.
Crap.
if you like.
Take a piece. You guys want to see it closer?
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So the plan that's up now is the top level lighting plan with the fixtures kind of noted in the corners, and the next sheet shows the actual fixtures, so that
Great.
like B1, B2 over there. We also included in the lighting plans the typical deck.
I'm interested in those. Okay.
So this is actually at the lowest level, the entry plan, where you see the grouping of 6 lights right by the entry there.
Mm-hmm.
That's just to provide more illumination. The rest of the deck is pretty just evenly distributed, and that's just to provide good, safe coverage.
What are the fixtures at this level?
It's the A1 and A2.
Okay. So we're not going to see the same kind of lighting fixtures that we see when we come up from 70 on the west side of the parking garage that's currently there.
No, these are the proposed fixtures, and then that type G wall pack is for the exterior. There are some, I'll say, environmental concerns that we have about the site,
Mhm.
and I just for context have an aerial over here.
Do we have that in the package?
It's not in the package. I don't know if we can pull up like a Google Earth view, but really what this is just, I mean, it's the existing site. There's a roadway here and a fire lane here.
Mm-hmm.
And our concern is that if we limit the light into just the garage, that those will be dark areas. So we do have some spillover outside of the garage onto those roadways.
From which fixtures?
From the wall fixtures that
The
are.
way you showed us, that was exterior?
Right, so you can actually see that there's fixtures on the right-hand side, sort of where the wall is bending in, that's right by that dog park in the rendering.
Right.
So we're putting a little bit of light out there and a little bit of light then to the west.
Is that enough, do we think?
And then also as a reminder that the neighbors immediately to the south is a parking garage.
Right. So not disturbed. What do we think?
And those existing streets don't have any lighting currently, or they do? I'm not sure.
There's some light on the existing buildings, but there's not real street lighting there.
Right.
And those are public right away?
They, the area to the north is a fire lane created for the apartment building,
Okay.
and
So is that owned by the apartment building
it is.
owner?
And there are no fixtures at all on that area. There's actually currently, thank you, in the upper left-hand corner of that site, you'll see there's a pole, an existing pole, which will come out because the garage will be in there. So that's currently providing some illumination right now. just in that corner. So we thought that by having a little bit of spillover to that fire lane to the north, they would be accomplishing kind of what we have right now. Then to the west, that lane is really, it's not public right of way, it's just access to that parking deck for the apartments themselves. So not a through street. And there's actually all those trees that are shown in that aerial. They took it at the right time of year because it's pretty bare right now. There's a hill over there as well, kind of drops off several feet as you go to that lane. So we're going to have a little bit of spillover through those trees as well. And yeah, the Google person doesn't really want to drop in there because Second Street is not technically, it's actually not a through street right now. And there's that change in grade. That will all be mitigated as a part of the larger project as well.
But you're saying, I think that there's not sufficient light now, and you're replicating what's there now?
What I'm saying is that we are not going to have our photometrics show that we're spilling over the lot line a little bit.
Right.
And it's kind of intentional.
Is that going to be enough? I
For-
get that it's not your responsibility, but
Right.
is that going to be enough?
It will meet normal requirements for pedestrian ways. It's not going to be a daylit street or anything like
Right.
that, but it certainly will help the environment.
And these photometric numbers are like 0.9 to 1. Those are adding to what's existing.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Except they're deleting the one street pole.
The one that's already on our site, if you hand to the right a little bit, you'll see it right there.
Got it.
So that is just I'll call it a convenience fixture for the parking lot, you know.
Mhm.
But it's lit now.
It is, I don't know if the bulb's operation.
Yeah, it exists.
I mean, I think it's good that you're providing light, but not maybe providing enough to do surgery in.
Right.
You don't
Yeah.
necessarily want to blow it out.
Right.
What I'm really trying to articulate is that the light, again, it doesn't stop at our lot line. It is spilling over, but we're not blasting through people's windows.
And you're
Right.
choosing to do that.
We are.
We okay?
Does city need to review an exterior spillage and how much that is?
I would guess that would be something that would be looked at when it goes to zoning.
I believe so.
Are you satisfied with that? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right. Anything
We're not
else?
experts at that.
Right, and
Anything else we would like to request information of Mr. Rosenthal for? We've seen this several times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How many, 14?
Hopefully enough.
Yeah. I don't have any other questions. Anybody else?
I do not.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. We're
you.
happy to not see you again on this topic.
On this one. Yeah.
We know we'll see you on other topics.
The addition for the east building is under review with the preservation office at the moment. You want to keep a souvenir?
Okay.
We appreciate the offer, though.
The state, then. The state, then.
It's actually being reviewed at the national level at the moment.
They review it in advance of.
The state preservation office has sent it on to the national for their input and.
For the tax credit approval.
Correct.
Got it.
But
Great.
I'm excited to bring it back soon. Thank you.
We can't
Here
wait to
too.
see it. Hang on one second while I get my iPad working again. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, item BD-22-06-004, 716 South I Street, AB Brewery District LLC.
Have someone here for that?
Yes, great. Hi. Will you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I just,
Would you please introduce yourself and your affiliation?
sure.
With
My
the
name is
property.
Mary Leach, and I'm the architect on the project.
Okay, great. Cool. Connie, would you like to give us your
Okay.
perspective?
This is some facade renovations and removing an existing metal sign and non-historic spindle porch frieze, removing existing logo art from the sign box and reusing the box for new signage. Repair and paint all exterior railings and install a umbrella straight hung fabric balance and move out furnishings. The removal of signage and a non-historic spindle frieze, installation of the balance and painting is consistent with guidelines. The internally illuminated light box was previously approved and will be refaced as signage identifying the business, which I don't know what that is yet. With the base of the sign to be opaque black and with light emitting only through the letters of the business name. These modifications make the sign more in keeping with current signage guidelines, which do not allow light to bid through the face. Recommend approval of the application as submitted with any required drawings or product information to be submitted to HPO staff for review and approval.
What are we missing from a product standpoint?
Just knowing what that sign is going to be, the light box sign, basically. That's it.
How would you like to tell us about your project?
Well, it's a new tenant coming in, taking over the existing restaurant, so we're just making minor improvements to the exterior. Just wanting to use the sign box because it's there. Don't want to go to disconnect it. What we're thinking at the moment, the brand designer is still working on the name and logo, so I don't have any visuals for that, but just doing some kind of solid metal probably in front of that illumination with the name cut out a bit, so it'd be a pretty subtle.
It's going to be a restaurant, is your perception?
It is a restaurant, yes.
Okay, it's going to continue to be a restaurant, let me say it clearly, okay. And you're recommending approval subject to the details? Yeah. Any questions? Straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay,
Sorry.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
That was with the final. sign.
Yes, with, as always, the final design elements to be approved by staff. I don't think we need to come back to this.
Sorry. Writing it.
Did we?
I did.
Second by Daniel. And you do understand, I'm sorry, that you have to bring back stuff to her to final approve it?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Moving on to item number 3, BD-22-06-005, 808 South High Street. Jason Wakefield, applicant. Can you raise your right hand, please, sir? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much for joining us. Could you please state your name and affiliation with the property?
My name's Jason Wakefield. I work for Moss Restaurant Group's Taco Bell.
Okay. Connie?
So we have this in as conceptual because I've been going kind of back and forth with Jason and with architects and so forth. At this point, I feel like some of this stuff could be moved to or approved tonight, and some will need to come back. So exterior painting, you have all of the details of that, and I think that could be approved. New cooler, you know, we don't really have that information yet because the site plan has to go through zoning first. And
Where's the cooler box now?
it's the small one on the rear. Small here, that's going to be extended, and this is a little, this is even attached, it's just a shed.
The shed's not attached now.
And so it will come back out this way. So this needs to bump back farther. Okay. So all of that needs to go through zoning. So if you have comments about that conceptually, new signage, I was going to say, you know, I think I sent this information to you that the revisions were sent, but it still didn't meet the guidelines. But they have provided me with photos showing that, you know, how they do the, and you can see these if you want to, and then this is not what we usually do, but I think it's something we could go ahead. You want to see them or?
You were thinking that we're gonna give them feedback and come back. They're gonna have to come back with
I think
another,
What they've submitted now is
not congruent with guidelines.
it fits the guidelines.
Is congruent, okay.
Yeah, because they would, put the one halo lit, bell on the front of the building, halo lit. And then the problem was you can't, the Taco Bell letters couldn't be halo lit because they were on this curved thing.
Right.
So now that they have proposed to, put that on the wall. So
You're more
both of those meet the guidelines. And then the guideline for the big pylon or pole signs is that they can only, an existing one can only be refaced. So instead of doing a whole new sign, I mean, yes, it would be good that the new sign would be smaller,
Right.
but new signs aren't allowed. So he's agreed to that they can just.
Stick with the
reface
same
it.
size. All right.
So if you feel.
And then what about the menu board?
Pardon me?
Wasn't there a menu board as well?
Yeah, the menu board, there's menu.
So it's just gonna be the sign on the right, but on the size of the sign on the left.
Yes. So if you feel comfortable with that, I feel comfortable with, those final drawings to be kept set. So in other words, the cooler, the overall site plan needs to come back, but I think, the painting and the signage could be improved.
Help me understand the menu board. What have we approved on that in the past?
I think, oh, yeah, there's a menu board, but, yeah, that needs discussion.
Right.
So it's a new kind, it's more digital, so that's all I've got to say, he can explain the rest to you.
How would you like to tell us about your project?
So the exterior digital minimum, which we still need to get through zoning on to bump that thing out, is just
Bump that thing out, meaning physically move it from where it is now, back
It's-
into the parking lot?
No, it's going to, currently on the back of the building, there's a,
Drive through?
yeah, where the drive-through stack is. So
Right.
if we're able to get the cooler to extend by 5 feet, we're gonna take the drive-through stack out 5 feet, and which you'll know will be kind of located right there where car 5 is.
Right.
So just a few feet out from where it currently is now.
So when you say bump it out, that's what you mean?
Correct.
Okay.
I'm sorry, extend it out
Yes.
further from the building,
All right.
a few feet.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can you install the new menu board before you bump it out? Or are you gonna keep the existing one until then? Is that something?
We're gonna keep the existing one until we can get all the site plans,
Okay.
and then,
So that'll come back next.
yeah,
That's
Okay.
yeah, we will, yeah, because we wouldn't be able to install it now and then
Yeah.
bump it out a few months later, because we have to run electric and stuff like that for that.
Is it the same size as the current one or?
Actually, it's smaller.
Okay. And so the bump out, the real change in the footprint of the building is the bump out that's required for the cooler
Correct.
unit.
Yeah, just so we can hit the handicap spots there.
Right.
That's why we have to bump it out, so we can maintain that extra handicap spot there.
Can I say something inappropriately gratuitous?
Time.
Can you please put a, some kind of canopy over the menu sign? So the people who are sitting in their cars ordering, like, say someone who might be ordering there on a regular basis, could actually not get drenched when it's raining?
Absolutely, and that's actually will be part of the signage.
A gratuitous comment, but one that's important.
Absolutely. It's just, yeah, and that's part of it. There is an overhang, so there's no more
I
digital.
thought I saw one, yeah.
Yeah, there is a canopy there,
Okay.
right there.
I'm saying I indulge, yes, it's true. And my family members.
Hopefully you got a Mexican pizza before they were sold out.
So, do you want approvals on stuff, or should we take the whole thing as, we'll give you, I mean, we can't do that because it's conceptual. Do you want us to say conceptually we're okay? Or, I mean, what, can we do a
So
combination?
What the commission can do, if you feel comfortable
Right.
with it, is split the application.
Into
make
approval
an
and-
A and a B,
Or you can bring it all back at once?
provide comments. I think he needs to get moving.
Just from an ordering perspective with lead times and stuff, we have to be able to know, it's, the signage is custom, so it's longer lead times, and we have to be done, we're going to be done by November.
We're okay with the paint colors? You've seen those, we're okay
I
with them?
mean,
We need to see them.
fan, but, so-
We're okay with the signage that you believe is within the guidelines?
Yes.
Which is the Taco Bell sign and the physical bell sign. We're gonna wait on the menu sign.
Yeah.
we're gonna wait until we get the final stuff on the building footprint, but we're conceptually okay?
We're conceptually okay. I just have a question about process. It has to be approved through zoning first?
No, they will do a preliminary, they won't approve until they have your,
Right.
But
But
the
they-
preliminary review needs to happen before we can take a look at it. Is that right?
it just makes more sense because if you look at, I mean, you can comment on it. But
I think we're all feeling like it's okay.
there's also this.
Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, we don't really have.
There's also just a thing that, the zoning staff could only locate like a 1984 site plan for this, for some reason. We had one from 2010.
I see.
So they need to actually kind of look at the whole site now.
Okay.
They just need to review.
So we need to make sure we take all of their comments into perspective.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we can't approve the footprint. We can say conditionally, conceptually, it looks okay to us. I think that's where we are, and we have to see the menu sign again when it comes back.
Based on the site plan that you've provided and then the new cooler layout.
Right.
It doesn't seem like you're affecting circulation on the site as far as cars at all.
And certainly nothing on the street.
Right, not visible from the street.
Right.
Or no discernible visual effect from the street. I mean, you'll see that the cooler is larger if you cared.
But you're gonna be sheltered under the canopy with the menu board, so it kind of doesn't,
You're focusing on the Mexican pizza. So
not my favorite thing, but yes, some people love it.
I don't know why you would care. So,
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents.
All right.
But paint colors and signage seems good with this commissioner.
Anybody else have any feedback?
No, yeah, this type of signage is just better, I think, so it's an improvement over what's there.
I agree. Do we wish to make a motion? Anybody want to take that motion?
Are we making a motion because it is
To approve.
conceptual?
What I would suggest is that you
She said.
divide it into two.
Right,
Okay, all right.
things we can approve. which is
Yeah.
paint.
It doesn't happen as much with this commission, but it does all the time with the other.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So he can have his advance
Yeah,
time to
one-
order.
Right. Gotcha.
Maybe somebody else should make them. She wants to go for it, maybe.
I'll make a motion to approve, or to split the project into two components and to approve the paint colors and the two signs that are proposed and to table the rest for the next,
With really no conceptual feedback.
or sorry, two,
Yeah.
yeah.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, any
Yeah.
other discussion or, hey, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say this, I also really appreciate, since I'm clearly a client, appreciate your diversity of your staff.
So, they've been down there for a long time. It's a great store. GM down there 32 years now.
That's great. It's a great thing to see.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure, take care. Your reputation. All right, so moving on to BD 22-06-006, 995 South Front Street. Unselman Architects and Interiors is the applicant.
They were gonna be here. So we'll just need to skip over that one.
We will be skipping over that one tonight.
Well, they said they're gonna be here, so we'll.
Oh, we'll be skipping over that one for now.
Ready to go?
Oh, there we are. You would like to come up and take a seat? Raise your right hand, please. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but.
I do.
Would you like to introduce yourself and your affiliation with this project?
Sure. My name is Doug Miller. I am the architect for this project, or for Gunselman Architecture and Interiors. And
Thank you. Happy you could join us.
Did you swear him?
Connie, would you like to tell us about your perspective?
Yes.
Or the perspective of the office, I should say.
So, this is some Bell, renovation of this building for a new use. Repair the existing front porch posts and railings on the facade. On the north, remove two existing shed dormers, located on either side of the existing two-story bay. Remove the chimney from the two-story bay. And build two new gable wall dormers, one with the roof. One within the room, and I think what that means actually. So we're and the existing two-story bay and one to the right for the rest of the bay. new gabled wall dormers to match existing original dormer on the south elevation. Then on the south elevation, install a new egress window in existing original gabled wall dormer. Repair existing non-original and enclosed stair structure. And on the west, which is the rear, open existing original brick and window opening and install a new window, which is appropriate. Convert first door opening, this is changed. And then there'll be two door openings on the rear and build a new ADA ramp with metal rail. May 19 business meeting comments included, provide drawings showing existing conditions and proposed work side by side to make the requested changes more clear, which they've done. While the existing shed dormers may not be original, they may have acquired significance over time. It's what staff thinks. Removal of a historic chimney or other historic fabric is not appropriate and need to understand any proposed site improvements. So this is conceptual, provide comments for conceptual review and no action required.
I would appreciate if you could walk through the proposal.
Sure, and what we're trying to do is our client wants to turn this property into a Airbnb type building. And right now it is an abandoned building. The problem that we face is to make this a viable project, they need to have 10 units. But the third floor does not, the way it's configured, does not allow to have proper egress windows. That's why we are proposing removing the shed dormers and trying to make this as least damaging as we can. We want to make it look like as close to the original fabric. That's why we're on sheet 2.0. All of the dormers that were created would look like what's existing. The shed dormers, the existing shed roof dormers, the problem with those.
I don't understand something.
Oh,
Can you
sure.
go back, please?
Yeah.
So the existing dormer on the left, you're going to keep all of the architectural elaboration around it?
Yes.
Okay. You can't tell that from the drawing on the right.
Just because we didn't model that. That's just the,
I'm,
it was.
I couldn't tell what was really happening.
No, that's the model that we're going to follow on the north side as well as the south side. So
Okay.
that would be the corbels, we would have those milled to make it fully match. Again,
So they'd be new.
it would be new, but I realize it's a huge ask, but it's the only way to make this work. The third floor, fortunately, can't be used for a sleeping space. The windows are too high and there's not enough egress windows. So that's why we are proposing on 2.01, what we're trying to propose is make it look like that, have the dormers mimic what's on the east elevation.
So you're expanding the windows, right? And lengthening the windows.
Yes. So
And are you changing the surround around it from a roof standpoint?
yes, and that's why I realize this is a huge ask.
I think it would help to talk about each individual case. So starting with the dormer on the east.
Sure.
Great.
So the dormer on the east goes away.
No, dormer east stays. No,
This check.
Oh,
It's a solid, it's a east.
yeah, those shed dormers, they go away, yes.
Yeah. So this one goes away.
Yep.
This goes away.
Correct.
And it gets replaced with that.
Correct.
Got it.
And then this gets turned into that.
Correct.
I just want to like.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the clarification. And part of why,
Thanks, Dan.
we are doing that is the unit that faces High Street, that does have egress windows. We tried to make this so we wouldn't have to do this. But there was just no way that we could get the appropriate number of sleeping units. So that's why we came to this conclusion. And the reason we don't want to keep the shed roof because I realize that they've been there for a long time.
How long, do you know when they were added?
No, I do not.
Can you get closer to the shed windows? The shed windows? Do you know, Connie?
No, but I mean, gosh. I wouldn't say anything later than 1940, 45 or something like
And the house originally is 1890s?
this. I really haven't researched.
Okay. Do you know?
I do not know much. No.
You're probably something.
Plus or minus 10?
So the third floor starts kind of where the band is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, yes, that is correct.
Okay.
And so you've got the tall window and then you've got the little window above it, the clear story window.
Right.
That was into the third floor?
That is that right there. Sorry. That window, yeah, that is just above the floor.
So you're taking those two windows out as well?
No, those windows
Okay,
will stay.
now go back to the other side. Now I've got more of a picture of it. Go back to the new side. Sorry, what you just had, but
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not cooperating.
I'm sorry. I've so been you. So those are still staying, and you're just creating you're kind of creating a very fancy new roof model and trying to keep the window surrounds be the same.
Yes.
Creative.
And can you tell us about is the chimney working that you want to take removed?
No, that is not working.
Can you go back to the chimney, please? Sorry. You did great. I apologize.
And part of what we want to do on the west elevation, we do have some infill that we need to do because they're right. They pretty much, they cut a lot into that west elevation. And we want to use some of those brick on that west elevation to fill they put a door that went out, probably perhaps to a sleeping porch, but you can see what the cutout is now. Since we're not going to be putting a porch on there, we would need to infill that piece, and so we're going to use reclaiming some of that brick to infill that, but it would match the adjacent window.
When you say that, you're talking about the second story,
Second,
The
yes,
little-
the second
little
story,
window in
that
that
little
weird spot.
window, right, sorry.
Connie, have you ever seen a windows, a roof configuration like that on a period building?
Are you talking about the overall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's that.
You don't think it's that crazy?
I mean, the dormer details, the woodwork is sort of, unique and original.
Right.
Definitely good.
But can you go back to the north elevation? I'm sorry, I want to walk around the whole building, but the sort of little hat and then the sort of pyramidal shape, you think that's
Yeah, that's-
period appropriate?
That's beyond my area of expertise.
I don't know, I've ever seen that. Do you think you have? Okay.
I mean, it's just a 3-story bay.
I mean, I appreciate the creativity of the solution.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If you look at can you go close up again on the photo of the dorm? So these both have 2 double hung windows in them. But, so you could not use something such as a casement window, like such, something that I have seen other commissions approve is it's a vinyl window, which is not great, but it looks like it's a
horizontal?
single hung window,
It's a horizontal?
and you can either open the bottom or you can open the whole thing. So is that not something that could be used as?
It's the height.
So let me ask, I was thinking this other thing too. Is there a way to, and maybe it already does this, go down into the roof, a little trough or something like that to make that?
That's kind of what they're doing.
Yes, I mean, that's kind of what we're doing to make that happen. It's just that we would need to come into the brick to get we're only allowed to be, that egress window has to be 44 inches high, is the max it can be. And, so we need to come down to make that happen. So that was part of the challenge. And it seemed if we would be taking out a lot more brick to make that happen than making this dorm.
I personally am not, I personally don't care about keeping the shed windows. Since they're late addition and they kind of, in my mind, have an impact on the overall integrity of the house.
What about the removing the historic fabric of a chimney and the brick that's,
That's the question. I know that's why you're trying to drive to that.
And, I appreciate what you're saying, and if there would have been a way to do that so we didn't have to, I would have pursued it. It's just that with third floor to provide egress windows, there are certain requirements that we have to have. And this was I wanted to keep the historical integrity as much as I could.
and the question is, what's the current use?
The current use, I believe it was an apartment at one time.
But legally, I mean,
No.
have you checked what is the?
No, it's zoned C4 now, and I believe it was used as an apartment building. It's cut up pretty much inside. But again, third floor, you couldn't really utilize that. So as to be a code compliant third.
So have you talked to zoning, will this require a change of use?
This was the first step,
Okay.
and zoning is in process.
So my question to the commission was, if this requires a change of use to be whatever this is.
It's unfortunately the zoning code. It's this.
Yeah.
It's not a bed and breakfast,
Yeah.
and it's not a hotel. I think a hotel is what it most closely resembles.
Right. So that change of use will require a recommendation from the commission.
And we recommend, it's changing to what?
That's what we're.
To residential
trying to say.
or to hotel?
It's an Airbnb.
I understand that's what you're gonna use it for.
Right.
What is it changing to from a code standpoint?
I don't know that.
It's right now, a hotel would be, I don't think we need a change of use for a hotel. But it is, I believe we are allowed that. It is.
So just to consider, I'm just trying to think ahead. Is this something that is wanting the Brewery District residential area to move toward?
Is there precedent?
So.
Yes, or you don't know?
think so. I mean, I can't.
Is there
think of
precedent in any of the other historic districts? I know there's lots of Airbnbs.
Yeah.
in the
I
historic
have to know.
districts.
I don't know, I'd have to ask.
I don't know if anybody's created something that's like a 10-unit
Yeah,
Airbnb.
so is it worth making changing to the historic fabric for something that may or may not be successful? That's just what I'm kind of thinking. And do you want it to be that permanently? Or would you prefer to see it go back to a single family, two family, or something like that? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of those things ahead of time before taking away historic fabric.
I would like to understand what precedent there is in other districts. 10 feels like a lot to me personally. But I would not be opposed to the usage as an Airbnb. It just feels really dense.
And if there were fewer units on the top floor, maybe you wouldn't need that many people.
But that's my personal opinion. What do you guys all think? Do you have an opinion?
I don't think I'm opposed to that either, especially on High Street.
Right,
Because there's a hotel right up the street,
right.
or several.
And this offers an alternative that's really
Right.
celebrating the historic house, I
Right.
think. What do you think, Dan?
I'm not opposed to an Airbnb on High Street. That's a really good point. 10 units does feel very dense. It would be I don't know what to say about if that takes away the viability of the project. I will say though that the proposed dormers, I think, are a good solution. You're borrowing from an existing dormer on the house.
I agree.
You're improving basically upon the dormers that are there, which are terrible and look ramshackle. And do not bemoan the loss of the chimney and with replacement of the dormer. And if you are going to be faithful to the existing trim on the east side of the house, that would be an improvement to the building, in my opinion.
I'm with you.
So architecturally, not opposed at all.
No, I mean, use is great. Is there any way to maybe remove one unit on third floor or something?
That's possible. I know 8 did not work. That was our original.
8 feels right to me.
Well, right, but they said, hey, it doesn't, it's not viable. It doesn't work. So they needed to have
What
10.
are they assuming for occupancy?
It's typically, it's no more than 70% of the time. That's,
No, what are they assuming for occupancy throughout the year?
I mean, it's occupancy out throughout the year.
Yeah.
I mean, is it as,
They're not making their business case on 70% occupancy throughout the year, are they?
that I don't know. I would have to get back with you on to ask that
It's
question.
not, that's not our business in one sense, but
Right.
I'm worried if it's that close and they're assuming a high level of occupancy that they may be unhappy with the results.
Well, I think that there's two things I think going into their decision making. Of course, they want to maximize the number of units and just.
I don't think that's of course, but I understand that's their perspective.
Right,
Yeah.
well, okay, well, I think the developer wants to
Right.
maximize. Plus, they're also securing parking spaces, off-site parking spaces for 10.
Where?
Well, that's what they're working on. They're
So we
trying.
don't know where that's going to be.
I don't know where that is now. That's part of where the zoning is, but they are, that they're trying to use 10 as to secure, or trying to secure.
And that's part of the request that came from the business meeting, which is people want, the group that was at the business meeting wants to understand what the rest of the property is going to look like.
And yes, and that will, the rest of the property, all the parking is going to be off-site, except for the ADA compliant parking space and one additional space there. And then if we get, we'll have a landscape architect provide a landscape plan.
I don't know where that would be. Do you know where they're looking?
They're looking, it's within a couple blocks of the area. It's multiple properties that they are in conversations with.
Do they absolutely need 10 parking spaces, like
Yeah.
off-street
Well,
parking? Yeah.
I'm guessing zoning is going to require past that, so that's what they're looking for. I think we are approaching a time when hopefully people use fewer and fewer cars as Uber and Lyft are more viable options.
There's no land.
But I just know that the zoning attorney recommended that they, try to acquire off-site parking.
Can we see the other facades? We haven't really talked through those yet. I just make sure there's this,
So-
and go to the south first, if you would. And so the south is the same treatment as the north, and go to the High Street facade. That's an assumption, right? That south is the same treatment as the north?
Yes,
Okay.
we're doing that, we'd be adding that dormer.
And on the High Street facade, you're keeping it as is, it looks like. No, you're changing out the dormer.
No, the dormer, we're keeping that as is.
So that one will be smaller than the ones on the north and south?
Those will be those should be the exact same size. The
north and the south windows you're making larger in the dormers, yes?
No, those should all be the same size of that dormer. That, they will be,
That's appropriate size for the egress.
yes, it does, what my research concluded, those were fine.
So we're okay with High Street, north and south, and you want to look at the back?
The back meaning west?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, can we look at the west side? And in that case, you're taking the one window and making it be normal, and you're making the doors be, are they the same?
They are the same. The difference in why it's showing up differently, the one on the right, that is entering into the space, and that is swinging into the building, and the door on the left, that swings out onto the patio.
Oh, given it's handicapped.
Yeah,
Okay.
that, and yeah, so it's also typically with, that would swing in, that's the kitchen, and having the door swing out would probably be a little more difficult. But that's what that is, it's being used as a door now, and it seemed to be the best replacement, or the best option.
Any thoughts or questions?
Yeah, I mean, I don't love the loss of the chimney personally. I think if you can really look hard at that, and if there's other paths forward, I mean, I think the dormer or some, I can be comfortable with, but just,
And the roof line.
yes, yeah. So that would be one comment. And then the parking issue, I would really look at that because, you know, if we're adding 10 surface parking spaces elsewhere in the brewery district, that creates other issues. So
We're not loving that.
just,
And that is mainly coming from a zoning standpoint. Ideally, you know, we would not have that, but if we need to accommodate, if zoning is saying, hey, you need to
We
have.
also all kind of feel like 10 is too dense. So
Sure.
that you might take that into account.
and I don't know if you need to provide a spot for every unit.
And
I
believe
would
me,
just
if
question
we didn't have to do that,
Yeah.
I would, yeah, welcome
think-
that.
Yeah, I think assuming everyone is going to drive, this is a, you know,
This is not
Yeah.
bad,
Especially
especially
with
for.
Airbnb, you think that you could get a variance?
right. This is essentially a lodging use, so.
But the Airbnb stuff, the city has been trying to increase their oversight on Airbnb in general. I don't think it's settled yet because there've been so many negative situations that have come about
Yeah,
in the various neighborhoods. Is that your understanding, Connie?
Sorry, I was looking at the guidelines and code.
Airbnb, I get the sense that the Airbnb regulation is kind of active right now.
Yes.
Under active consideration because of the challenges people have had.
Yes, but we haven't really been involved with that much.
Right, but you know there's stuff pending,
Yes.
so I don't know.
I guess I would just ask for more context and thought about how that's going to work.
And, you know, and if it's reducing parking, I don't think, you know, I know I'm not opposed to that.
It's not our job to tell you that.
Right.
We can only tell you that we're not happy about 10 surface parking spaces, having space in the brewery district allocated to them.
Well, and this is, you know, this is not, we're not removing anything. This would be using an existing, if it's a business that operates from 8 to 5 and then in the
We're just
evening.
looking to not add,
Sure.
so we're happy to hear what you have to propose.
Well, you know, hopefully it would be using an existing parking lot. That would be the ideal. Certainly not adding surface parking.
And I think we don't really have the right to say anything about 10 interior spaces. We're just giving you frankly, our reaction.
Yeah,
But it's not in our jurisdiction.
the biggest heartburner is outside our jurisdiction.
Right. So, except I think we can say that 10 new surface parking spaces, we would have a hard time with in the brewery district.
But,
Yeah,
but I guess.
I get that you're trying to do the other. I'm just telling you where we are.
Right, you know, and I just want to be clear, this is not creating
I understand what you're saying.
fit, so.
As long as it was at the Taco Bell.
Under a canopy. Yeah, I am concerned that there's a lot of active stuff going on in the city about Airbnbs. I think we need to understand where that stuff is from the development office perspective and understand what other commissions have done with Airbnbs. I think we're conceptually open, given the caveats we talked about today. If that's helpful to you.
Yeah, that does.
And this is part of my job. I have
Yes.
to remind the commission of these things because on approval, you're going to have to, you know, refer to why, based on guidelines and code, you approve this. So I'm just going to read this.
Is there anything in the guidelines you think that prohibits? Okay, so that would be useful for us to understand.
The construction of new dormers can dramatically change the roof line and scale of the building and generally is not an appropriate exterior alteration to buildings. If acceptable, dormers should be located on a rear elevation. Dormers should be located below the ridge line and away from the E line. The minimum setback along the E line should be 1 foot.
Who was at the business meeting?
Pardon me?
Who was at the business meeting?
Jeff and I,
And did Jeff feel strongly in a negative way?
I don't think
We
we did want to
really
talk
didn't.
about it much at all.
yeah,
Okay. So I would say this, we don't have the whole commission here today. Others may have strong opinions, given these guidelines, so this is our conceptual feedback to you today.
And you will need to refer, just, you know, just make sure that you kind of read over these again for windows and also for the code, and for alteration as it refers to historic fabric, so.
Thank you, ma'am. Helpful reminder.
I appreciate that. I guess, you know, and I would like to just state that, you know, I understand that adding a dormer or removing a dormer, it generally is not allowed. And
Not
that's
approved.
why we try to follow the
Right.
historic precedent.
Right.
So,
I think you, I mean, I personally think you've been creative in the way you've tried to approach it. I appreciate that. I think others probably would support that. But we can't speak for the whole group,
Sure.
but we can only say that, as Connie reminds us, we would be having to make an exception for you, which is never a good thing. But I would really like to understand what's happening along those two dimensions. So Connie, if you could figure that out for us, that'd be great. Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
thank you very
And
much.
again, thanks for your creativity. Yes, I'm trying to get to my page, sorry. Can't get off this page. We have a few of the agenda. Anybody got it? Agenda? Okay. Item. No, that's Guzman. What else is left?
It's, under new business.
It's under new business. Thank you very much. BD 22-06 007. Larry First Blank Stone, applicant, please join us.
Well, if Josh could come up here. I'll-
Yeah, sure. You can, I can swear you both in. So, you just give me 1 second before I can figure out how to get back to mine. What can you get back? I usually have to do it for Bill. Okay, thank you. Can you both raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us about your relationship to the project?
Yes. I'm Larry First, president of Langstone Company.
Great,
Josh Crandall, employee of Langston.
great. Thank you very much.
And
Connie?
I provided some information in an email to the commissioners. I don't have a chance to look at that. And
Yes, but it'd be fine if you wish to repeat it.
Well, I don't have the email, but I'll.
Just give us a sense.
So so the question, I would read the request is to remove the existing chain link fencing and gate, which that was threatened already.
Right.
Install new Spectra chain link fence system and gates for submitted photo, site plan, and product cut sheet. So the Short Street roadway improvement project was implemented to provide for better connectivity with stormwater improvements on Short Street between Sycamore Street and Liberty Street. Project will install a 5-foot sidewalk, or has installed a 5-foot sidewalk on the east side and an 8-foot walk on the west side of Short Street. That's from the BPS's project fact sheet for this project. The project was in construction by October 2021, at which time the application and approval requirements were communicated by me to public service staff. And my understanding was that they discussed that with the applicants. I can't say whether that actually happened or not. In May 2022, preparation for fence installation was observed by someone in the community, and code enforcement staff contacted the property owner. An application photos, site plan, and product information were submitted after code was speaking with them on site. This is part of the email that I sent you. Was speaking with them on site and then called me, and we spoke on the phone together. I described the need for our code for an application and a COA prior to any site improvements. And they, and talked a little bit about what our code says about not allowing chain link fence and facing the public right of way. And they've been very nice about it and promptly submitted the application. So I discussed it with my supervisor and I said, can I just stick this on the agenda for the last minute so we can get this discussion going? He said that he thought that was appropriate.
So in last year, when you had the first conversations, you explained what the Brewery District guidelines indicated were needed?
Not to them, to DPS.
Okay, so we don't know if the conversation happened between DPS and them.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I discussed it with someone today and it appears that it went above that person and then that person was not necessarily,
Brought up to speed.
and they did not contact me back to say, oh, we're not going to do this, or we don't think it's appropriate for us to do this. So I was just under the assumption that
It had happened and then we saw them start going again, and so now we're here to chat about what's going on. So if you could give us the history from your perspective, that would be awesome.
That'd be great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Let me just say too, I'm sorry, they did bring up in a bunch of stuff, and I explained to them that that's not really the way that we do things, since the commission doesn't have time to shuffle through it all. And it would be up to you whether you feel it's appropriate for you to take a look at all this.
So I,
It's mainly pictures.
We okay looking at the pictures?
sure.
Okay, we're happy to take the pictures, we still want to hear the history.
And I have actually a short presentation
Okay,
that is the history.
okay.
And more detail on the application. Frankly, we weren't informed. And
You were
We
not?
were not informed. We were, we're in the midst of installation and was shocked. So,
That makes all of us. All right, so we're gonna have to hear the presentation because these packages are a little different. Okay.
shoot, I want to discuss.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you got multiple sets, that'd be great.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Because right now we are thinking there's a full set here. There needs to be a full set here, here, and here.
They're like three groups.
Okay.
of pictures.
That's right.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. She's got all of them,
Okay.
right? Thank you. I got it.
Okay.
You skipped one.
Okay.
All right,
Sorry.
thank you. You're good.
Right, so thank you.
Sure.
Appreciate it. And our objective is approval for our fence application, have a discussion of what can reasonably be done. So short history of pictures of our work we do. So,
Is there anyone who's not familiar with Langstone and the work that they do?
Very, very familiar.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're familiar, I'm familiar, you familiar?
I'm not as much.
Okay. They have tell your story. Go ahead.
So we were established in 1856 in German Village. 3 generations lived in the village and were original members of St. Mary's. Third oldest continuously operating stone company in America. We opened our 707 Short Street location in the 50s, which I think is well before anyone in this room was born. It was considered a pretty sketchy area at that time. It's outdoor shopping for landscape stone, and then we have an architectural stone fabrication facility where we do the sort of work you see in the picture, along with other more common things. It's always been a mixed residential commercial area from our research. We're actively operated by the 5th generation of the family.
Is that you?
It's my wife,
Okay.
Jo, and her sister.
Great.
And they're both active and credible contributors to the success of the business.
Mhm.
We provide the materials to the historical buildings you're trying to preserve throughout central Ohio, the state, and all across the country. I stepped back and did some research on the Brewery District Commission. And there were goals on page 8 of the bylaws, or I don't know what to call them, about on the left-hand side of preserving, stabilizing, and improving, which we've been a cornerstone of the Brewery District for 70 years. We promote historic preservation. It's part of our DNA. We strengthen the economy. We have 20 people working there with good paying jobs and benefits. We have 65 in the company. We paid over $600,000 in taxes last year. And we're the unique characteristic of the city. I think we're a unique company. You're not going to find a company like ours from Indiana, limestone country to the East Coast. So people come and visit us all the time and stop and eat and shop in the district. So Sycamore, Joan's father and grandfather moved the company out of German Village to Sycamore Street. During that time, there's been multiple changes to that street, and we've always tried to accommodate the city's needs. So in the 90s, Short Sycamore was an undedicated connected street, pretty dangerous. Ran through the property. We had chain link fences on either side and around the property at that point with gates. Mid-90s, Kroger wanted to develop, Shotstein wanted to develop the Kroger that's in the Brewery District. So the city disconnected the street and put a gate across both locations, took out our fencing, and we could actually some signage and various other things. In the late 90s, the Brewery District Commission was established, I believe, and Joan's mom and dad tried to participate, but they were told we're not in the Brewery District.
Is that true that they weren't? You don't know, or it's?
No, it's not true.
Okay. You, as far as you know, they were part of the Brewery
Yes.
District. Okay.
Yeah.
Independent of what you were told.
So in early 2021, the city initiated the Short Street Sycamore Connector. Completed it in May. We cooperated again with that despite significant disruption of our operations. So before, you look across the street in the picture of that, where we had store stone in the foreground, those are all part of our yard without any traffic through it, except when we open the gates. So this is the third fence and entry reconfiguration that we've gone through. And that's left side is east. Then the fences, when the city approached us, we knew that a fence was going to be an issue. So we asked them about it in May, June, July, August, and September in writing.
I want to make sure I understand something. So you're saying you've had to change 3 times the fence configuration, the gate configuration because of city changes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Our original, one of our addresses was 178 Sycamore Street. And then that road ended when Kroger's went in, and then we became 707 Short Street.
Okay. I should make sure I understood it. Go ahead.
I
So
wondered why that was, because I missed that.
it's still confusing at times.
Yeah,
So we weren't informed we needed to meet a brewery district requirement. In February of 2022, we purchased fence and gates in anticipation.
Before you go there,
Okay.
when did you guys realize you were part of the Brewery District?
Really, when we were contacted by the code enforcement person who came to our office.
That's your first indication that you knew you were part of the Brewery District,
Yeah.
Historic District?
Yes.
Okay.
We've had multiple job meetings with the city engineers, the city inspectors on a weekly basis, talking about this fence, where is this project going? When do we need to worry about the fence? When do we order the fence? When are your completion? Because the fence, the temporary fence right now is provided to this by the city right now. So they want their fence back. So we need to get our fence installed to give you your fence back.
Have we had no applications from Langstone the entire history of the Brewery District Commission?
I'm not sure, but.
Can you check on
apparently
that?
not.
Can you check on it?
I will check
All
it,
right,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, my memory. And
Yeah, there's no harm, no foul, just
never
curious.
had any, and I don't know that we've ever done anything before that would have required it.
I mean, part of that is that there was a fence across, so
But-
people didn't really,
Nobody went past it,
Yeah,
right?
nobody
Nobody
went
went
past it.
unless they
the
had,
code officer wouldn't see it,
right.
people wouldn't make in the neighborhood, it wouldn't be
And
walking.
now the street really opens it up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so for the past, I think, 2 years, there's been a construction project down the street that we had this temporary road in. And then in the daytime hours, we did open up both gates. The city, fire department, everybody drove through it. And then in the evenings, we closed the gates. So,
So about May 19th, the code enforcement officer came down. We didn't have a fence up, so there's no code violation to enforce, but we were in the process, the holes were being dug to put in posts. Fence has been purchased. she had me talk to you, I think?
Yeah.
And you're Connie.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was a little disturbed because we were in a pinch. I mean, it was, and we're good corporate citizens. So Connie said we needed to submit an application, and which I did pretty hurriedly because and so I then did research on the Brewery District Commission's requirements and scope.
Discovered to your surprise.
Yes, yes, and we holded the work on the fence. So moving to the next page.
Mhm.
Sorry. So that what I want to present is what we're applying for and why I think it should be approved. So it is a chain link fence. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it.
No, you're asking for something that's not consistent with our guidelines,
Yeah, it's,
period.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say we're a unique property. So, and the gate, most of the guidelines apply to a residential cityscape. We're a commercial property, large frontage now. And with the requirement for big gates, because we have semi trucks coming in and out of the property all the time. And those had to be custom designed to span the openings.
Do you have a picture of the gates?
Yes.
I do.
Which packet you?
It's right,
Yes.
right on the front.
That
Line
this?
through line on the ground.
Yes,
Okay.
that
It's
is,
picture two.
that is the custom gates that are sitting in our yard right now. And then on the third page, you'll see the example of
Right.
the gate up. The gate has been engineered to withstand the length of the gate and the wind loads because of the opening to the property is on that curve. So we had to have a larger gate. The gate frame is aluminum, but the mesh will go on the gate itself.
Very industrial looking to me. Okay,
So, we would be off the city right away along the property lines on what's now the east and west yard. That's the picture that's up, and I think we have a bigger picture.
and the gate package?
The
The-
that's 11 by 17,
Okay.
11 by 17.
I have that one here if you'd like.
So this is showing 7 leaves, is that right? Total gate leaves.
I guess, yeah. So there's, on one side of the street, there's sliding gates. On the other side, there'll be a swinging gate.
Is this sliding here?
Yes, it slides. There's 2 slide to come with one.
That's our main entry.
Since the road is on that curve, the semis have a hard time swinging in, going from both sides.
That makes sense.
So
So, what do we give you a chance to look? So the, so it'd be along the city right away. The rest of the fences, the property owners we abut would be Kroger parking lot where there's a hill that's taller than the fence. And then there's a parking lot north of us where there's a hill that's taller than the fence also. The fence is visible along the road. So Kroger's to the right
So Kroger's is here,
or to the left. It's left.
Can't see.
Kroger's is here,
Yes,
There's a parking lot
Yes,
there.
Right.
the Kroger's.
and you're saying there's something over here,
another parking lot.
Yeah.
which belongs to that building, that long building, office building?
I think it's a pay lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think it belongs to that long top building that used to be Morpsey.
there we go. Word.
North of that.
Yeah,
Right there.
yeah. It used to be, the building just above
Morpsey,
used to be
yeah.
Morpsey.
Top of it.
Yeah. Okay,
So fantastic persuasive finish, right? So so we've been we think the existence of Langstone supports your goals. Lang's a unique commercial property predating the BDC. There's no other property like that, like us, I think, downtown. Frankly. Lang's had some form of grade chain link fence for security for 7 years. And I think we should be grandfathered, and the new fence is actually a visual improvement.
It's a shorter fence too.
6 foot, yeah.
6 foot.
what was it before, 8 foot?
It varies.
Yeah, there's.
And you're not proposing any barbed wire?
No.
That we just don't want trucks driving in and loading stone with
Yeah. It's a,
young people
it's a.
jumping around on stone and getting hurt.
It's it's an inventory protection, it's an equipment protection because of the theft with Cali converters and all
We
that
get
other
it.
stuff.
We get
But it's
it.
also protecting the public from getting hurt on a regular basis.
I mean, I say the other advantage, do not take this as any sort of diminution of our requirements, is that it does have a sense of congruency that current fence does not.
Sorry.
It's congruent in the way the current fence is, everything looks like it belongs together in the same, but it also kind of looks like an uncanned, industrial. Do you guys have any questions?
It's an industrial business.
Commercial business.
I mean, these are building materials.
I get it. Our problem is that these are our guidelines and we have to offer you I mean, I accept that you, I personally accept that you didn't believe you were in the Brewery District. I personally accept that you believe that you just found that out. Of course, if we find a case, that's gonna lead me to question, right? This is just directly against our guidelines is the challenge, and we have to create an exception for you, and we have to be able to sell it and feel good about it. What do you want to say? What do
The
you,
bigger challenge is that it's not just against the guidelines, it's against the code.
right?
This
What's the code piece, Connie? I missed it.
3116.13.
Okay.
Standards for site improvements. Chain link fence, although not favored, may be used in the rear of a property if not facing on the street.
Right.
Chain link fence shall not be erected in a location that is visible from the street or is in front of the setback line. Chain link or privacy fence shall not exceed 6 feet in height and shall generally be restricted to side and rear yards.
Which is what was never an issue before because they didn't have a street there.
So that's Muni code.
What?
That's Muni code?
That's historic preservation code.
See,
preservation
look at that picture right there. You just zoomed in.
But is that historic
No.
preservation code geared
Right
toward
there.
residential use? Is that
Zoom, could you please zoom in right there?
And let us finish this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Historic districts. 60 individuals. Commercial
sort of stuff? So is there a fencing that would prefer if it's not to be chain link?
See,
What's it, it's that, yeah.
I mean, generally, what I can say is what I said in this.
In your comment.
see that, the Liberty Street Apartments, it was approved there, it was approved for the.
Chain link was? Or the-
No.
This one,
that-
yeah,
that.
right.
That, and it was approved for the sewerage project,
Right.
Also for the neighboring property, which is a landscaping property. And you do have it here that the city parking lot has
Chain
chain
link.
link, was supposed to be permanent, so the city should be.
We should have a code enforcement finding against them.
It's supposed to be, but actually, I mean, the use as the parking lot is supposed to be temporary. I don't know what that is, actually. It's supposed to be developed, See, so that's, now it's hired.
Are you opposed to that picket style fence?
Well, the challenge is we own the chain link fence, and that may not be something that you're required to consider.
You have to demonstrate financial hardship for us to consider it, which is a little onerous.
The chain link is $130,000. The aluminum is heading towards $250,000. And our fence contractor said that it's a challenge to go up the hills that we have now created on each side of the road. And it's also a highly recycled material now.
Highly recycled, what
Yeah.
percent?
People are starting to steal them. Aluminum.
So, comments or questions? What are you looking for from us today? What are you looking for from us today? Feedback? Decision?
I mean, it's just a difficult situation. I mean, this could be to prove it if you could find a way to prove it based on the guidelines and code. I think that's going to be really difficult. You could deny it if that's what they ask for a vote based on our code. Continue it and ask for.
Are there any compromise solutions that you've been able to figure out? I was trying to figure out, maybe we could push the fence in one direction, but live with the gates, but the gates are a little challenging.
Discussion with another department. See. And continue possibly and have a discussion with other department.
Which
involved with
department?
this. The Department of Public Service,
The ones that didn't communicate, you think?
apparently, and maybe that will result in nothing, but,
So let's say they didn't communicate, right? What does that buy us?
but you would get people above my level discussing things
Which could help us?
in the future, possibly, at least.
Feels like a tight bind, right? So
It's for everyone.
we want to have a discussion also.
Yeah.
But I think the key thing for us to secure the property are the gates. And there could be other ways to enclose the property.
So what I'm wondering is if there's a compromise solution. That's where I was gonna go, but then this also feels real industrial to me, but I guess I could get past it. If we can make the rest of the fence fit some of the other models.
Part of the challenge was we couldn't find decorative gates
Right, no, I get it.
of that size.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
That's-
And we can't say, oh, look at these 14, because I don't know where they are. Do you guys know any?
No.
Do you?
No.
I mean, the issue is, quite frankly, sometimes historic preservation detaches from aesthetic pleasantness. So that gate is wonderful.
In some
Aesthetic
ways,
sense.
yeah.
Except, I mean, it will have chain link over it.
Yeah.
Right.
But
But
I see that as a compromise.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
And some are, especially some are sliding, some are,
Yeah, the sliding is nice.
they're gonna be open some of the time, and then.
It feels to me like we could get to a compromise there if we could get rid of the other chain.
I think it's worth taking a shot of trying to kick it up the
Yeah,
chain to
I'm
see
fine with
if
that.
we can get a little allowance or something in some way. They caused the issue, right? I mean, they blew up for your
Ostensibly.
property.
I'm
Right.
comfortable with doing the research to be sure.
Yeah. And by the way, know that we all respect you guys as business people. We love you in the community. We're happy you're in the Brewery District Historic District. And you are a welcome member of the Brewery District Historic District.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
And I will just say, to be diplomatic, generally, all departments do try to work.
Yeah.
This is something that.
It's unusual.
Yeah, something that we're dealing with, and we appreciate the cooperation and positive
So how about that? How about if we don't make a decision today, but we kick it up the chain and see if we can get some,
Yeah,
something, dispensation, you know,
I agree. This is a challenging position for
Yeah.
us. So-
Yeah. grant. Why not ask for everything? Yeah. You're not allowed to talk from the, swear, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, thank you very much. Introduce yourself.
If you drive by,
Yeah.
my name's Jonathan.
Uh-huh.
If you drive by, you'll already see the skid marks up the sidewalk, right at our fence area, and that happened within the first 5 days that they opened the road.
And that's because you think someone is trying to break in?
I think they missed the turn,
Oh, great.
so we've got to have something that's gonna protect people from going through the fence.
So speed is of the essence from your standpoint.
My understanding is the city has already been down there, or was down there almost the next day, looking at what they could put in the street to slow traffic, but honestly, for as long as I've been alive, that has been a problem.
Did they put anything in the street to slow the traffic?
We asked for that originally. They put the
Reflectors.
reflectors, and I think they're gonna, the white strips, rubble, kind of painted rubble strips.
So that would be a second agenda. That would be a second agenda item. Help with that too. Obviously, I'm gonna ask for the moon.
Appreciate that.
Is everybody okay with that as a today's solution?
Yes.
I apologize, you have to come back.
Just to explain to the city why they can't have their fence back, because they tried at least once.
That really is agenda item too. Yeah. That'd be great. Yeah, so do we.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So see if we explain the situation, how we got to this point. We'll do the research to make sure we haven't seen these guys before, so we can fairly say that. Talk to your guys about getting the DPS involved, and the DPS side, if they can keep what they've got, if we can help mitigate the curve problem, and how do we resolve this issue? What can they help us bring to the table as either a compromise solution or some support for these guys? I have no idea if they'll do that, but it's worth a try.
Then we'll come back on next one. Okay.
Assuming we can get it all to happen in the interim.
To be interested to be honest, which I always am. I did attend a Brewery District Commission discussion of freedom,
Yeah,
especially the flyover and Second Street issue.
yeah,
So,
it's okay. Cool, thanks, you guys.
thank
Thank you.
You guys are good. Cool. Okay, anything else, John?
Nothing else.
Anybody have anything else, any new business they want to bring up? Okay, thanks for waiting also till the end of the meeting for your, to talk about your stuff. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Woo-hoo! Is there a second?
I'll say.
Okay, thank you in all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much, and thank you very much to our helpers.
Thank you.
Take care, you guys.
This is tough.
Yeah.
I have to believe maybe it's funny if, if it's.
Are we off?
Yeah.
Are we turned off?